Picture this. It's January 2026. We are in Las Vegas, surrounded by all that neon glow and just the absolute peak of tech world spectacle.
Oh, yeah, the sheer scale of it.
Right. On stage, you have FIFA's president standing literally shoulder to shoulder with the CEO of Lenovo. The lights go down, the giant screens light up behind them, and they make this grand announcement that is, supposedly going to change global sports forever.
Forever.
They call it Football AI Pro.
And I mean, the presentation was just nothing short of intoxicating. They were up there pitching this future where the beautiful game is finally mathematically fair.
Yeah.
You had these incredibly sleek graphics showing data points flying all across a pitch, promising a total revolution in how the sport is managed.
And the core promise that they just kept hammering home was this concept of democratization. They announced that this generative AI assistant is going directly into the hands of all 48 teams competing in the 2026 World Cup.
Right, all 48.
We are not just talking about giving some shiny new tech toy to the Brazils, the Francis, or the Argentinas of the world. We are talking about a debutante nation like Cape Verde.
Which is an island nation with a population of barely over, 500,000 people?
Exactly.
A football federation that historically operates with zero professional analytics department, let alone having massive server farms at their disposal.
But suddenly, Cape Verde is supposedly getting the exact same data power, the exact same computational brain as a football titan like Germany.
Yeah, that was the pitch.
The rhetoric on stage was very clear. This will democratize access to data, which, brings us to the actual mission of today's deep dive.
Right.
Does handing out cutting-edge AI actually democratize anything, or does it secretly just widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots?
That is the exact tension at the heart of this entire rollout. And you see this narrative constantly in the tech world.
Oh, all the time. And for you listening right now, as someone who is constantly absorbing new information, learning new tools, trying to stay ahead in your own field, you have likely heard tech companies throw around the word democratization a million times.
It's the ultimate buzzword.
Right. New software drops, and suddenly everyone is supposed to be on a level playing field. Well, today, we're going to challenge how you think about that word entirely.
Because to really evaluate the claims in this dossier, we have to look at the sheer scale of the firepower that was handed out on that Las Vegas stage.
Yeah, we need to talk specs.
Exactly. We are not talking about some basic spreadsheet generator or like an iPad app here.
Let's look at the specs. Because Football AI Pro is essentially a ChatGPT for football analytics running on Lenovo's massive full-stack AI infrastructure.
It's huge.
We are talking about a system that ingests hundreds of millions of data points per match and tracks over 2,000 different metrics.
And let's just contextualize what 2,000 metrics actually means for a second.
Please do.
The system isn't just, counting passes and shots. It's tracking spatial dominance. It's mapping complex passing networks. It calculates abstract things like expected threat.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because terms like expected threat get thrown around a lot in modern sports broadcasting.
They do, yeah.
But explain how a machine calculates something as abstract as a threat. What does that actually look like?
It's actually a great example of the system's depth. So traditional stats measure what happened, a shot was taken, a goal was scored.
Right. The basic stuff.
But expected threat, or XT, calculates what could happen. The AI literally divides the pitch into a grid and analyzes years and years of historical data.
Wow. Okay.
And it determines the exact probability that having the ball in a specific zone will lead to a goal within the next few phases of play.
So it's predicting the future, sort of.
Essentially, yes. So if a midfielder makes a 20-yard pass that bypasses two defenders, the AI doesn't just register, successful pass.
Right.
It calculates the exact percentage by which that pass increased the team's chance of scoring, even if no one ended up taking a shot.
And it does all of this in multiple languages. A coach can literally type in a query, say, show me how our midfield shape degrades during the final 15 minutes when the opponent presses high.
Yes.
And the AI spits out text analysis, video clips, player heat maps, and full 3D tactical animations, just like that.
What's fascinating here is that Football AI Pro is just the centerpiece of a much more sprawling tech package.
Oh, yeah. The money involved is insane.
FIFA and Lenovo put together a deal worth north of $200 million.
$200 million?
Yeah. And it includes AI-enabled 3D player avatars for semi-automated offside technology. It includes smart wayfinding systems for stadium fans.
Right.
It even includes those AI-stabilized referee body cameras that they trialed back at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup.
So Looking at those capabilities, I mean, my instinct is to think about the invention of the smartphone.
Okay, how so?
Well, before the smartphone, if you wanted to take high-quality photos, browse the internet globally, and communicate instantly, you needed like a camera, a desktop computer, and a landline.
Sure. You needed a lot of gear.
Right, you needed serious capital and infrastructure.
Hmm.
Then the smartphone puts all of that in the pocket of billions of people. It radically lowered the barrier to entry.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're giving an AI that does the work of 50 data scientists to a team like Cape Verde, isn't that the ultimate equalizer? Like, isn't that actually democratizing the sport?
Well, the Left Africa dossier completely rejects that analogy.
Really?
Yeah, entirely. They argue that comparing Football AI Pro to a smartphone fundamentally misunderstands how the technology actually works in practice.
Okay.
They say it is not a smartphone, it is a nuclear reactor.
Wow. Okay, that is a massive pivot. A nuclear reactor.
A nuclear reactor. Consider the mechanics of it. A smartphone is intuitive, right? The user interface is designed so a layperson can just pick it up and operate it immediately.
Yeah, pretty much anyone can use one.
But a nuclear reactor is incredibly powerful. But it doesn't just output usable electricity, it outputs raw, volatile energy.
Right.
To actually light up a city with it, you need highly skilled engineers, massive cooling towers, turbines, and an entire electrical grid infrastructure.
Okay, I see where this is going.
If you drop a nuclear reactor into a village that doesn't have a team of nuclear physicists or a power grid, you haven't democratized energy at all.
You've just given them a very expensive, highly hazardous ornament.
Exactly. It's totally useless without the infrastructure to harness it.
So the dossier's argument is that this AI outputs the equivalent of raw, volatile energy. It spits out these dense data streams, assuming all 48 teams have the human infrastructure to translate that data into usable power.
Yes.
Which, in the context of football, would be training drills and actual tactical shifts on the pitch.
That is the core flaw they point out. The rollout assumes every federation possesses the statistical literacy and the massive analytics departments needed to interpret the AI's output.
Right.
But in reality, that level of infrastructure only exists within the top 10 or 15 federations globally.
So if we run with this reactor analogy, the most important thing about having power is, actually having it when the lights go out.
Exactly, when you need it most.
Let's say you are the manager of Senegal and you are down 1-0 at halftime against a massive European team. You need a tactical shift right now in the dressing room.
High pressure situation.
So you pull up your $200 million AI to find the opponent's weakness and...
You get nothing.
Wait, what?
You get absolutely nothing. This is what the dossier refers to as the latency trap.
The latency trap. Okay.
There is a glaring technical limitation with Football AI Pro. It takes 2 to 3 hours to process a single set of post-match queries.
Wait, a 3-hour delay?
Yep, 2 to 3 hours.
If this thing is running on Lenovo's cutting-edge server stacks, why on earth does it take 3 hours to answer a question? I mean, ChatGPT answers me in 2 seconds.
It comes down to the sheer volume of computational heavy lifting. The system isn't just like pulling simple numbers from a spreadsheet.
Right.
It is running thousands of Monte Carlo simulations, basically playing out the match scenarios over and over and over to find hidden patterns.
Oh, wow.
It is rendering complex 3D physical models of all 22 players moving in space over 90 minutes. Compiling, rendering, and verifying that level of granular spatial data requires massive processing time, even for supercomputers.
But that entirely breaks the promise for the underdog.
It really does.
Because African teams, and honestly most underdog teams in general, rely heavily on in-game tactical adaptability.
Yes, that live reaction speed.
They rely on catching giants off guard, making split-second adjustments on the touchline. If the AI only gives you the answers 3 hours after the final whistle, the tournament could already be over. You're already knocked out.
And what's fascinating here is, if we connect this to how elite football currently operates, it reveals a massive structural disparity.
Okay, how so?
Well, the highly resourced teams, the Englers, the Francis of the world, they do not need this AI for live adjustments.
Because they already have something else.
Exactly. They already have proprietary in-game analytics built directly into their workflows.
Right.
They have real human analysts sitting high up in the stadium with customized tablets beaming live spatial data and video down to the coach on the bench in real time.
So for the elite teams, a massive AI report that takes 3 hours to generate is just extra reading material for the flight home.
Essentially, yes.
They lose absolutely nothing by waiting.
For them, it is post-match luxury. A nice bonus. But for a small federation that was sold this tool as a live tactical lifeline, like a way to outsmart the giants right there on the pitch,
Yeah.
it is completely useless during the 90 minutes that actually decide the tournament.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here for a second. Even with a 3-hour delay, a coach from a smaller nation is still waking up Monday morning with a hyper-detailed tactical report generated by a world-class AI.
Right.
Surely having that data sitting on your desk is better than not having it at all?
You would think so, but the dossier points out a pretty brutal reality about data in general. It is completely inert if you don't have the machinery to act on it.
Okay, I'm following.
Let's look at the institutional infrastructure on that Monday morning. When that delayed AI report lands on the desk of the French national team, it is received by a massive, highly specialized machine.
Yeah, they have a whole village of staff.
They have a dozen dedicated analysts, they have a performance director, they have centralized medical staff.
So they have an entire hierarchy of people whose sole job is translation, translating the data into reality.
Yes.
Mm.
For example, the AI might output a complex correlation matrix, say, a chart showing how the team's pressing intensity in the middle third correlates directly with leaving space behind their fullbacks.
Right, very technical stuff.
The French analytics team takes that complex matrix, digests it, and within 2 hours, they have collaborated with the coaching staff to design a highly specific rondo training drill for the afternoon session to fix that exact spatial issue.
So they instantly operationalize the insight.
Exactly. But then you look at a team like Cape Verde or the Comoros.
Right.
They might only have a head coach who is acting as the manager, the lead scout, and the motivator all at once.
Doing everything.
A coach who has spent his entire career building systems on instinct, on watching digital video and observing body language, not on parsing advanced statistical modeling.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because it raises an uncomfortable question for the tech company.
It does.
Like, what does a complex data visualization mean to an overworked, understaffed coaching setup? The fundamental flaw in the democratization narrative is the belief that outputting sophisticated analysis is the same thing as building sophisticated analysts.
Beautifully put. Giving someone the blueprint doesn't mean they know how to build a house.
Yeah.
Or even have the tools to build it.
Yes.
When you give everyone in the ecosystem the exact same piece of advanced technology, the competitive advantage doesn't vanish. It simply shifts.
It shifts to where?
The advantage no longer belongs to whoever owns the tool. The advantage goes entirely to whoever can execute on the tool's insights the fastest.
Man, that is so true. By giving everyone the same AI, FIFA is actually just flattening access to the data while drastically amplifying the existing inequalities in execution capacity.
Yes. The execution capacity is the real separator.
The rich teams just get richer because they have the physical machinery on the training ground to digest and apply the data faster than the small teams ever could.
The human capital is the bottleneck. The tool requires human capital to be valuable, and human capital is exactly what the smaller federations are completely starved of.
So if I'm reading between the lines here, and this tool doesn't actually help the smaller teams win games or close that execution gap on the pitch we have to follow the money,
Always follow the money.
we have to look at this $200 million price tag and ask who is actually benefiting. Because it sounds like Cape Verde isn't really the customer here. They are the marketing material.
You've hit the nail on the head. The dossier lays out a very clear beneficiary hierarchy, and you are spot on. The small federations are firmly at the bottom, just serving as props in a democratization narrative.
So if they are at the bottom, who sits at the top of this hierarchy?
At the very top, you have FIFA. From a governance perspective, this is a massive public relations victory for them.
Oh, for sure.
They get to signal innovations, modernization, and most importantly, fairness. The optics of standing on a stage in Las Vegas and handing a cutting-edge AI to a developing nation are just incredibly valuable.
It's the perfect photo op.
Exactly. It shields the organization from criticism about resource disparity, regardless of the actual competitive impact on the grass.
It looks great in a press release. And right next to FIFA on that stage is Lenovo.
Right. Lenovo is providing the physical servers, the GPUs, the software stack, and the technical support. In return, they secure a $200 million sponsorship deal, and they get to wrap it up in this beautiful narrative of benevolence.
The dossier actually uses a really striking phrase for this setup. They call it a commercial reality masked as a philanthropic democratization effort.
It's a great line.
It really is. It is essentially marketing spend disguised as foreign aid. Lenovo gets to boast about leveling the global playing field while simultaneously cashing a massive check.
And below those corporate entities, the real sporting winners are the elite federations.
Francis and the Brazils.
Teams like Brazil or Germany simply receive a free, highly advanced supplemental data stream that they just layer on top of the sprawling analytics empires they have already built.
But the Left Africa dossier brings up a massive blind spot that totally reframes this whole rollout, because the World Cup only has 48 teams.
Yes.
But FIFA has over 200 member associations globally.
Over 150 nations did not qualify for the 2026 tournament. A huge portion of these are African, Caribbean, and Asian federations. For many of them, the reality is stark. We are talking about federations that lack basic internet infrastructure at their training grounds, functional websites, or even a single paid part-time data analyst.
And they get absolutely nothing from this $200 million AI rollout. They're left completely in the dark.
Nothing at all.
But there's a really insidious technological catch here. The AI doesn't just analyze data, it learns from it.
That's what AI does.
Right. It is building proprietary data models based solely on the match data from the 48 elite teams that actually made it to the tournament.
It creates a closed, totally exclusive feedback loop. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Pan-African implications that the dossier's authors highlight, this entirely undercuts the idea of closing the global north-south gap.
Yeah, it doesn't close it at all.
Instead of empowering developing nations, it just creates a brand new form of technological dependency.
Because the data from these matches is being extracted, processed by foreign infrastructure, and then handed back as a finished product.
A proprietary AI infrastructure owned by a Chinese-American technology company, governed by a Swiss football bureaucracy, which entirely ignores the actual bottleneck holding back developing football nations.
Which, again, is the human capital.
Yes.
They need data scientists on the ground. They need performance coaches. They need video analysts actually embedded in their domestic leagues. They need people, not just cloud processors.
The next time an African underdog qualifies for a future tournament and steps onto the pitch against a European giant, they will both, ostensibly have access to this AI tool.
Right.
But the underdog still won't have the institutional machinery surrounding it. The competitive gap hasn't been closed at all. It has just been rendered in a highly sophisticated new medium.
It is wild how a word like democratization can be stretched by PR departments to mean almost the exact opposite of what it implies.
It really is.
And I want to bring this directly back to you listening to this right now. Think about your own industry, your own office, maybe your own hobbies.
Yeah, it applies everywhere.
How often have you been sold a new piece of software, a new platform, or a new AI tool that promises to level the playing field? And when the dust settles, how often does that new tool actually just speed up the workflows of the people who already have the money, the time, and the staff to exploit it?
It is a critical lens you have to apply to any technological leap.
Hmm.
True democratization isn't just about handing someone a tool.
No, it's not.
It is about equipping them with the ability, the education, and the infrastructure to actually wield it.
And that leaves us with one final, very provocative thought to chew on today, something the source material briefly touches on when it mentions how this AI is building those proprietary data models from only the 48 qualifying teams.
This is a huge point.
Think about what this means for the sport of football on a decade-long timeline.
The homogenization of tactics. It is an incredible data feedback loop to consider.
If this massive AI brain is only ingesting data, analyzing tactics, and outputting recommendations based on the 48 teams that made it to the absolute peak of the sport, what happens in 10 years? Right. If every coach from the elite European leagues all the way down to the domestic leagues in Cape Verde is eventually pressured to follow the exact same machine-generated optimization model, trained on the exact same elite data, could this AI inadvertently homogenize the beautiful game?
It is a genuine risk. If an AI determines there is only one statistically perfect way to transition the ball through the midfield, will we lose the unpredictable, chaotic flair of South American street football?
Yeah.
Will we lose the unorthodox, highly regional playing styles that develop precisely because they aren't optimized by a Silicon Valley server farm?
It makes you wonder. We started on that stage in Las Vegas under the bright neon lights with the promise of a mathematically fair, perfectly optimized future.
We did.
But maybe by trying to engineer the perfect game and handing everyone the exact same instruction manual, We are slowly stripping away the unpredictable magic that makes global football so captivating in the first place. Something to think about the next time you hear a tech CEO promise to democratize the world.